It's, you know, just. Someday.
It's gotta be so close.
Not for this. I don't see it.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Before we welcome everyone, I'm calling the meeting to order. That would mean calling the meeting to order. Yep. All right. So before we rise for Pledge of Allegiance, Trustee Jamil is going to be joining remotely for work reasons. I would like a motion to allow him to attend remotely. Okay, moved by Trustee Harris, seconded by Trustee Browski. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance, big flag. States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, spring will be here soon, I am sure. One of the things I wanted to do as we start the meeting tonight is I wanted to congratulate Chris Sparkman because his second year anniversary is going to be March 4th and we won't be meeting then. So congratulations, Chris. Thank you. Yeah. I'm wishing you many more anniversaries. The second thing on the agenda is appointment of Lolitha Matthew to the Architectural Commission. Lolitha retired last year and now has time to get involved in the village. She's lived in the village for 18 years, applied to be on the Architectural Commission. John Marshall interviewed her and thought she'd be a good fit. I spoke with her briefly as well. Benjamin, who's here, happens to be your mom too, comes to the meetings all the time. So I'm asking you if you'll approve my appointment of Lolitha Matthew to the Architectural Commission.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve, to appoint Ms. Matthew to the Architectural Committee.
Moved by Trustee Browski,
Second.
second by Trustee Gayton. Do I need a roll call on that? Roll call, please.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Gaten,
Aye. Aye.
Jamil,
I don't think he's made it yet, but when he is here, he can vote.
He popped in.
He did? Is he there?
Disconnect. He was in, but it kicked him out.
You kicked him out.
He dropped out.
Okay. All right, keep going.
trustee Tanucci,
All right. Okay, that's 4, right? So motion carried. All right. Homeowners associations. Is there anyone here from Victorian Oaks Estates? Carol Levin? Go ahead, Carol. You have anything? You'll have to get up at the microphone though, because sorry to put you under that pressure, but otherwise they can't hear you online. So yeah, we went to this new fancy technology.
If the light is red, just push the button.
Yeah, you have to, when it's green like this, you're. Thank
I'm
you.
good. I'm live. Hi, I'm Carol Levan. I'm the HOA president for Victorian Oaks. The room is really beautiful. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. If I can give 1 second, I just want to introduce my daughter.
You can. I mean, if it's political, you really can't do it here, but you can introduce her just briefly. Yes.
It's my daughter.
Can't give
Jen.
a speech, but yeah.
No, she's not going to. She's running for to represent this area.
Okay, got
I
it.
just wanted to introduce her.
Thank you for that. Yep. Is there anything else you wanted to do or no? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, we can't have this is not a political forum, but thank you for being here. So, Eleanor Estates, Jeff Fuller.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Fuller. I'm the HOA president for Eleanor Estates. There's only 2 things I wanted to bring up before the board. One of which we spoke about briefly before the meeting kicked off, where the detention pond project has, the construction is largely completed. But there was the outstanding item with trying to clean out the culvert, which provides conveyance between the main pond and then the eastern basin. And so it spoke with Chris about contacting the township to coordinate the jetting. The other was regarding the asphalt program, which I know was briefly discussed at the last meeting. I know that there's the funding in the budget and that you'd mentioned that there was proposal is to be brought forth in March. I was just curious about the timeline that you're expecting for approval and when I guess proposals will be open for submittal.
There is a draft plan. There are some changes that have been recommended that are being incorporated. It may be coming before the board in March.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your patience on that. Yep. And congrats on getting that project almost all done too. Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for being here. Thank you both for volunteering too. We appreciate it. Now, we're going to move to public comment. There's an agenda item 12 on here. So here's what I'm thinking. If the public comment is regarding agenda item number 12, then let's do that before that item. And then try to keep it to 10 minutes, 3 minutes per, speaker. But let's do that public comment then. So I'll open it up for public comment again, right before agenda item 12. If it's other public comment, now's the time to bring it forward. Go ahead, Benjamin.
My name is Benjamin Matthew from 4369 Oakleaf Lane in the Oakleaf Homeowners Subdivision. My first concern is when I went to a recent PCZBA meeting, it came to my attention that when it comes for noticing neighbors, that when it comes to sending the letters, it's not a requirement to send it by certified mail, only by regular mail. And I just want to clarify if that's the case or not. If there's not a requirement to send it by certified mail, I strongly believe there should be a requirement to do so. Secondly, I brought this up before in other meetings that in terms of the sign that we use announcing zoning changes or whatever, in light of our village being really rural and having a lot of vegetation, I still believe that we should go to bigger signs, even if they're kind of big and obnoxious. I think better notice is better than less. And finally, I was wondering if there's any updates to the special use application for 4359 Illinois Route 22. Thank you.
I turn those all over to you. Will you answer those?
Yeah, our code, I don't know if it's a state requirement either, Vic, but in terms.
State law does not require anything for us other than publication in the newspaper.
Okay.
So the mailed notices that we do are a matter of our local code. Likewise, the signage is a matter of local practice.
Yeah, so we require notice to be provided. We are currently recommending that people send a certified mail and provide us copies, or they have to have a signed affidavit confirming that they completed the mailing portion of the public hearing. Mm-hmm.
My strong suggestion to the board is we should include a requirement to make it certified mail, because based upon seeing the issues with the doggy daycare on Old McHenry Road, the issue with the Travel Plaza coming up on Illinois 83, and even other issues in the village with people saying, hey, we haven't gotten them in the mail or whatever, I think having certified mail would avoid that problem. And at the very least, the applicant can point to the return card saying neighbors received something. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts. There's two other,
No update on 4359.
and the sign size.
The signs is a policy question that the board can consider if they want to make it bigger. Also, your trash question from last meeting, Groot did confirm that they used one truck that separates out garbage and recycling.
Oh.
And they use that for the tighter roads.
Learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Any other public comment? If not, we'll move to the public safety report. Do you have one? No? All right. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Come on in. Yep. We have the consent agenda in front of us right now. And on that agenda is the treasurer's report,
from January 2026. We have the minutes from the February 10th, 2026 board meeting. There is an application for all of the special events for Brothers Field for the coming year for other events. And then there is extension of the landscaping contract that we have with Milu at the same price. Any questions on that? Or does somebody want to make a motion to approve? Okay, moved by trustee Gayton? Harris.
Second.
And seconded by trustee Gayton.
Were meeting minutes included in that, sorry?
Yes.
I did a couple of things to point out on meeting minutes. Again, we use the name Groot in there as opposed to waste hauler. I just think it's more appropriate to use the word waste hauler. And also the meeting minutes represent that I was absent, which is true, but I was still on the line during that call. So again, I don't know what the proper wording is to designate that. But I'd like to propose those two modifications.
I think it's probably most accurate to state that trustee Borowski was also in attendance, but not as an official participant.
Thank you.
I believe they stated that was unofficially present, is what it states. Isn't that correct?
Well,
In different way.
Pardon?
Same thing, different way. Yeah.
So you're probably referring to the individual votes, right?
Yeah, some of
Where
the
it says
votes
you're-
just said I'm absent.
For the votes, you should be
Both, though,
identified as absent.
It's represented as absent because you're not officially present.
Okay, thank you. Whatever the proper wording is, thank you.
Yeah,
You
you're not
okay with that?
present as a voting board member.
So then does anyone, so do you want to amend trustee Harris? Do you want to amend your motion to just say as a, with the modifications or the modification
Sure.
by trustee Borowski?
Yes.
Okay, and then it was seconded by trustee Gayton, and that's a roll call, so.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Trustee Gayton.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci. Trustee Tanucci.
Oh. Aye.
Is trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Did we get everyone?
Yes.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll say
Oh,
aye.
I'm sorry,
Thank you.
trustee Borowski.
I only had 4 check marks down, so that's why I was trying to figure that out. Okay. All right, motion carried. Thank you. All right, we have a presentation of a proposed single-family home development that would be in that quadrant across from Sunset Foods at Aptekissick Road in 83. I believe we're going to have a presentation from Mr. Moses Kuckerman, is that right? What is it? Okay, well, if you're going to give a presentation, we'll ask you to stand up, and I think we have a slideshow.
Just gonna throw up the site plan.
Site plan, okay.
There's a packet in the Google Drive. There's a file with some additional information. There.
And so what we're asking, is referral to the Plan Commission for this development, so, but take it away.
Thank you very much for allowing me to come in front of you, Mr. President and trustees of the board. As I explained to Chris Parkman, I am a terrible loudspeaker, public speaker. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read some of my notes that you may have in front of you. The site plan that we're proposing is a 29-acre property pending final survey, and we're proposing 26 single-family homes with an overall density of just under 1 home per acre, exactly at 0.87 units per acre, which is pretty low. The layout is intentionally low density with generous lot sizes and a neighborhood structure that fits comfortably within the village of Long Grove. Access to the community has been designed with safety and traffic flow in mind. We are providing 2 points of entry, one right in, right out, left in, left out on Illinois Route 83, and another one on Aptekissick Road, just right in, right out. Within the neighborhood, the public right-of-way is planned at 60 feet with a 28-foot back-to-back pavement width. I understand from a late conversation with Chris that you don't allow public roads in the village, or you would prefer that this be a private road. So just substitute ROW right away for easement, 60-foot easement, if that is the case. So it's either a public right of way or a private road. And if it is a private road, then the HRA will be in charge of taking care of the road maintenance and the snow plowing. We are going to create a homeowners association in this development. We are proposing that the minimum lot size will measure approximately 121 feet in front by 136 feet in depth, adding 5 feet to the width to 126 feet in the case of a corner lot. Now, that is the minimum lot size that we're proposing. If you were to take the overall acreage of the property, almost 30 acres, and divide it by 26, the gross lot area is about 49,000 square feet per lot. We have also incorporated meaningful open space amenities. The plan includes 2 privately owned homeowners association maintained gathering areas, a smaller space of roughly 0.4 acres in front of lots 11 through 13, and a larger 1.6 acre space across from lots 17 through 19. These areas are intended to serve as informal community greens, places for neighbors to meet, children to play, and the community to take shape. Environmental features were an important consideration from the start. Existing wetlands and conservation easements have been integrated into the design. The exact boundaries will be confirmed once updated surveys are completed. What we have drawn is based on what we've been provided, some engineering documents provided to us by the seller. For emergency access, we're proposing an egress only, and I want to emphasize this, it's going to be an egress only connection to Briarcrest Lane at the northeast corner of the property. This will be strictly restricted to emergency vehicles only, police department, EMS, and fire department. A decorative gate equipped with a Knox box system will prevent any regular vehicular traffic from using that connection, while ensuring that only first responders have immediate and easy access to exit the community. And I want to emphasize the word exit because that's the only purpose, so that if a fire engine is on lot, I can't see it from here, at the very northeast corner of the property, and they're done with their work, they can exit straight, driving frontward instead of backing up to one of the driveways. I want to now talk about the architecture. Our goal is to deliver a cohesive, high-quality neighborhood and strong visual character. The homes will feature traditional farmhouse-inspired elevations with steeply pitched gables, varied roof lines, and articulated massing that creates depth and interest from the street. These are wide homes, about 70 to 80 feet across the front, giving the streetscape a stately, well-proportioned appearance. All the garages, every single garage will be side-loaded. Therefore, we are not going to have any garage doors fronting on the street. The homes will be originally offered with a 2-car garage with an option to add a 3rd-car garage. Exterior materials will include masonry, fiber cement siding, hardy board with horizontal and vertical elements, detailed window base with trims and corbels, architectural shingles, and contemporary color palettes. The result will be a well-designed community of homes with pleasing architecture that aligns with today's expectations for premium single-family homes in your village. We will offer both ranch and 2-story plans, ranging from approximately 2,500 square feet to 3,500 square feet. Floor plans will include 3 to 5 bedrooms and 2.5 to 4 bathrooms, providing flexibility for a range of household types. You have, I believe, exhibits of the site plan and the architectural schematics, and also a CV for myself and my partner, Mr. Seymour Taxman. Before I conclude my presentation, I want to touch base on 2 important facts so that the community of Long Grove understands clearly how my partner and I operate. But before I get into that, I want to let you know also that if we're approved like tonight, if you are recommending us to go or referring us to the Plan Commission, one of the very first steps I'm going to take in the next few days is to contact the Homeowners Association of Briarcrest. Is that the name of the community? Okay. Briarcrest, and sit down with them, show them what we're planning to do, and hopefully we will get their support for the project. The one thing that is very important that I disclose to you is how we operate. We are a small, very private home building operation. We are not looking to buy 1 or 2 properties every single year, and so we are not going to have an even flow of projects. What we look to develop are very, very unique properties like yours, almost infill properties within the suburban environment. And for that reason, we are not going to be able to have an even flow of properties. A private home builder will ideally would have closed a development last year, and by now we should be starting a new development. That is what an even flow is. So we finish one, we start another one, and it goes on and on year in, year out. For that reason, we cannot have a back office operation. We are not going to be able to have, nor it is our intent to have, a full office of administrative assistants, contracts, closers, field superintendents. What we do is once we get a property entitled, we close on it, debt-free, and then we look for a home builder to come along with us to build the property exactly how it has been approved. No changes unless, as I explained to Chris yesterday, sometimes you get into a property and you have some field conditions that were unexpected, mainly engineering issues. Those are the only changes that we may have to make, but maybe those can be resolved at staff level. We're not going to change the site plan. We're not going to change the elevations. Again, the development will be built as approved. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to the board with questions that you might have or items you want to bring forward and discuss. Does anybody want to start? Trustee Borowski, you've got that look.
I've got the look. First of all, thank you for your presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I guess my one question I had, maybe it's more towards staff than it is to the petitioner. Right now, that sidewalk trail pathway is shown on the west side of the property that runs north-south. Does it make sense to put it there, or does it make sense to move it closer to the 83 right-of-way? Because you've got a fair amount of shrubbery between the pathway and 83 there. And then it goes north and ends up running into nothing. So I guess I had a big question mark on does it make sense to put a trail in that runs into somebody else's property line, that kind of thing. So I don't know if that's a Rita question or staff question or what.
Yeah, I'll answer and Jeff can chime in if he wants. But so in our discussion, we requested that the developer put a pathway in along Route 83 as part of our expanded pathway plan. We can fine tune the location of where that will go. We don't know what the easements are on 83, so we can fine tune that more to answer your question. And then in the budget workshop coming up, we'll talk about the expanded pathway plan on where that will connect to.
The date decided, by the way? Is the date decided?
Yes, 21st.
And along the same thought process, so what's the scenic order? Is 50 feet there or is it 100 feet?
It's 100 feet.
It's 100 feet. So the way this is drawn right now, it's only a 50-foot proposed scenic corridor, right? So we would have to deviate from our standard if that's the case.
Yes, this should be similar to like the Sunset Grove development in South 15.
No, not really, because that's commercial and this isn't, right?
And there's like some easement that Route 83 is going to take.
Well, what we don't know is where is that easement measured from? But what we have done or what we intend to do is preserve all that important preservation. save and accept undesirable species and dead trees and such.
Okay, but the 100 foot would put the scenic corridor right through the middle of your homes, right? Like 1, 2, 26, 25, 24. So
If that is the case, yes, yeah, I think we agree on that.
That's a
It
code.
might be more than 50 feet. Because of it's just, where does the,
well, it may not be to scale is what you're saying. Okay.
yeah, well, there's also, because where's the state easement, et cetera, all in here? Or or the county easement, right at the Kissing?
Mhm. County and state, yeah.
Yeah. That has to be sorted out, I guess.
Okay, and then just, a comment, I guess, lot 12, which is kind of that, I don't know, whatever shape lot that is, the corner of it, the east corner of it, kind of encroaches very closely to the home in Briar Crest, right?
I'm sorry, which lot you said?
Lot number 12,
Lot number 12?
yeah. So the corner of it kind of tapers to the east, and the back corner of it tapers to the east, and that kind of strikes me as being extremely close to that homeowner in Briar Crest. So maybe there's something we need to look at there in terms of reshaping that
Sorry,
lot a little bit.
Lot number 12 has a real large rear yard.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The corner of it is just kind of odd to me because it is a
Oh,
lot.
you mean where the two property lines come together?
That's right.
Okay, well, we can see what,
Because that literally puts the corner of that lot line right up against Briar Crest.
well, but it is,
That's where that fence is.
yeah, it is within the property line.
That's where the fence is. There's a roadway there. And there's a dead end road into that house's driveway. And that's where it is. So,
I get it, but something for the plan committee.
yeah,
take
to look at,
right?
right, yeah.
Okay. No, I don't have any particular other questions right now. Thank you for indulging me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, do you have questions? Comments?
Right now, I just have one question. What do you anticipate to be the asking prices for these homes?
If we were starting this, let us say that we get, that you recommend us or you refer us to the plan commission. I'm just trying to put a calendar in front of us. Let us say it takes us about a year to finish the entitlements. So about a year and a half when we can start, take another 6 months to do the site work. And it's going to be a very difficult site work, as you probably imagine. I would say that those homes will start at $130,000 to $140,000.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, $1.3 million. I sold them all. I sold them all, $1.3 million to $1.4 million. Yeah, sure. $1.3 million to $1.4 million. Yeah,
Can you repeat that? What was it? 1.3 million to what?
$1.4 million, $1.5 million, depending on the size of the
Okay.
house. And that's just the asking price. In this type of home, as you can imagine, we expect buyers to buy some upgrades or some options. So the closing prices will be about $100,000 higher than what I just mentioned over the $1.3 million or the $130,000.
All right, thank you. No other questions at this
I have a
time.
question for you. I'm gonna go ahead and ask my question. So I was curious. So you're gonna find a builder to build it to your specifications? Is that what?
No, we are going to enter into some agreement, some partnership, yes.
So you'll enter a partnership, but you'll remain in control of the development?
The builder will remain in total control of the development with the site work, construction, sales and marketing. We will be a partner.
You'll be a partner? Okay.
But they will have to understand, it will be so written that the development has to be built as approved.
Okay, so you're sort of like the master developer, and then you'll have a subcontractor underneath you that will actually be responsible for building this out.
Yes, yes, yes.
Got it. And let me ask another question. By any chance is the parcel, I grew up in Northbrook, so there's the Our Lady of the Brook Church that's no longer there, or it's still there, but the property's been sold. Is that one of the projects you're working on?
Well, that is a very unique project. That was an anomaly for us.
Okay,
Let me explain to you why. We entered into a contract to buy the property. with the Catholic Bishop of Chicago. That was the legal owner of the property. And when we reviewed the code of Northbrook, we were made aware that they have a very strong affordable housing ordinance. But we also read that at the discretion of the board, the builder will have the opportunity to make a payment in lieu of providing the affordable housing on site. And we knew that it was at the discretion of the board. But we also knew that the types of homes that will go there will be selling for $700,000, $800,000 or $900,000, some townhouses, two-story townhouses. And so we thought that because of the huge gap in value between what the sales prices for the affordable units will have to be, and I will get a little further into it, and the market prices of the market rate homes will be such that the village will understand that it is unfeasible to provide affordable housing on site. We were wrong, but we discovered this too far into the project. The village was bent in asking us to put 8 affordable units on site. That's 15% of 53 units. Now, this is important. Of the 8 units, 4 had to be sold at 100% of the area median income. The other 4 had to be sold at 60% of the area median income. If you, the overall cost of each unit, and we couldn't, even though the village told us that we can make the other units smaller, the affordable units, there was a little bit of conflict because they wanted the units to have the exact same number of rooms, the affordable units, as the market rate units. So we couldn't reduce the size. That was one reason why we couldn't reduce the size. Secondly, for marketing of our market rate units, if we were to reduce them the size, those were, by the way, those units are configured in 2 and 3 unit buildings, most of them 3 unit buildings. If we were to reduce the size of the affordable unit, it will be an oddball in that configuration, 2 or 3 units. So we couldn't do it. So we knew that the affordable units had to be of the same size, lesser interior specifications, but of the same size than the market rate units. So let's go back to the gap between the affordable units and the market rate units. The cost of building any of the units was about $650,000. 4 of those had to be sold at $250,000. So that's $400,000 of losses, if you will, times 4 units, that's $1.6 million. The other 4 that had to be sold at 60% of the area median income could be sold for only $150,000 a unit. So that is $500,000 of a gap. Times 4 units, that's $2 million. So we had a gap of $3.6 million. I would call it more. My numbers may be a little wrong, but it was about $3 million, just shy of $3 million. There's no private builder who can afford that. Any public company, because of the buying power, because of how much less their cost of money is, but principally because of the borrowing power, of the buying power, they can build any unit for $15 to $20 less per square foot. So $20 times $2,700, 2,700 square feet, call it in round numbers, $55,000 less a unit. You can do the math and you can realize that only a public builder could afford to build this project with the on-site affordable requirements. So instead of losing the $500,000 that we had in entitlement expenses and our time, we decided that Pulte would be a good buyer for the property. They accepted all the conditions and we sold them the property. We even tried in the interim to convince the village that we will double the amount of affordable payment in lieu of placing units on site. We had to place 8 units at $125,000. that was $1 million. We even offered to add 50 or 60% to that, but we had, we couldn't get it through.
So you walked from that project.
We walked from the project. The village was right. They had what they wanted. I take my hat for them. But it required a public builder to come in. No private builder could have afforded that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I didn't know what I was asking when I asked that question. So thank you. I went to church there, so
Oh, okay.
I saw it and I'm like, I was like, wonder what's going on.
Did I give you too much information?
Did I get confirmed?
No, did I give you too much information?
Yeah, you gave me too much information, but it was great. So thank
Okay.
you for that.
Sure.
Other comments, questions?
Most of my questions were answered. So just to be clear, you buy the land and then you find a developer.
We find the land, we do the entitlements, we underwrite the cost of the entitlements, we buy the land, we close for cash, and then we look for a builder. Now, the reality is that as we get closer to the approvals, we probably start looking for a builder.
Do you have any other similar developments with single-family properties?
No. Not in this price range, to be quite honest with you. I have built, you can see my history, I have built plenty of single-family homes, but not in this price range. But the truth of the matter is that what 6 or 7 years ago was $600,000 or $700,000. 6 or 7 years ago, these homes will be selling for $600,000 or $700,000. So those I have built. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the only other question I have is in regards to, and it gets to that, the type of, homes they're going to be, they're going to be a variety of styles.
Yes.
Nice upgrades inside, because it is Long Grove. We're, expecting an architectural style that's, aesthetically pleasing to the area. Can you describe that
Yes,
a little bit
yes.
more about what you're thinking?
You have seen 3 samples of the elevations that we would propose. We call them farmhouse elevations. And we propose that we are probably going to come up with another 2 elevations, typical elevations, that are going to be in the similar style, farmhouses. So now you are going to have 5 elevations. And we are going to have 2 or 3 color schemes throughout the development. So essentially, you're going to have 10 to 15 different elevations for 26 single-family homes. In addition to that, we are going to be careful that some of the homes will have, as you're looking at them, right-hand garages, and some of them will have left-hand garages. So as you drive through, if you look closely, yes, you will realize that it is essentially the same elevation, but flipped. But if you're driving casually, you will not be able to tell it's the same elevation. In addition to that, we are going to have some of the homes, and they're not featured here. This is what we call, what I am showing you is an outward garage entry. In other words, they're on the side of the house, far away from the entry door. But we're going to offer some of the houses that we call them inward garages, more or less L-shaped, and the garage will be in that vertical side of the L, but it will still be a side entry. Some homeowners may prefer that the driveway be closer to the front door. And so we're going to be catering to that market as well. So I don't believe, eventually you will see all of them. I don't believe you're going to object to the variety of elevations.
Thank you for that. One other question, and that is, as I understand it, the fire department's going to be bringing the public water supply across the street.
Yeah.
So you'll be planning to connect that
Yes.
water system to the homes, and then, as I understand it, you might also bring a connection closer to Briarcrest too?
Well, we have homes there, and I discussed this with Chris yesterday or a couple of days ago. No, had to be yesterday. And we have to bring the water main there. We talked about the fact that it needs to be oversized a bit to satisfy the needs of Briarcrest.
Thank you for that. All right, any other comments or questions from the board? Anyone so inclined to make a motion to refer?
I want to say something about the water main, if you don't mind. There's going to be an increased expense of that. I want to be very clear for the neighbors of Briarcrest, if they're here, that there's going to be an increase in the expense because we're going to have to oversize the entire piping system, the entire water main. And so it is something that we will need to discuss with the homeowners. It's an extra expense for us that we would expect to be reimbursed.
Recapture or something?
Yeah.
Understood. Any other further conversation, or does somebody want to make a motion to refer to the plan commission?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to refer this to the plan commission for discussion.
Okay, moved by trustee Borowski,
Second.
second by trustee Gayton. That's a roll call. Oh, voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good night to you all.
Okay, so next on the agenda is the waiver of a waiting period for a demolition permit. This is for a home that's on 2373 Checker Road. It's in disrepair. I don't know if there's any, I know that there were some questions about asbestos and other types of remediation as part of the demolition. I don't know if those questions have been answered. They have?
Mhm.
It's meaning,
Yeah, the applicant is gonna have a certified company come and inspect for asbestos, and if they find any, they will have to follow the IEPA. Okay.
do you want to speak at the podium? So, yeah.
Sir, can you make sure the mic is on?
Good evening. My name is Andre. I applied for the permit in 2018. That was, I didn't get to the end, so right now I apply again. I already pay all the fees. Today I find out there was like some kind of like hazard material. I think what Kinga or what her name called me today and asked me about the to fill up the form sent to the Springfield for the asbest. Yeah, so it will have to be like special permit apply with the special people who were dealing before. So I'm gonna work on that because it was something new for me. I didn't know these houses they got this kind of material, was building back then. So I'll ask the engineer to maybe we can walk through the house, see maybe there is like maybe they didn't build with the asbest back then, maybe this is like a guessing only. So if you can, whenever you guys are available, who is the engineer, we can walk through and to make sure there is the hazard material before we'll proceed to that form.
Our engineers, I'm not sure he's the right person, but he is online, but we can talk about that. Thank you for the comments. I think what we have before us is waiving the waiting period and approving the demolition of this home. I think it would be subject to any of those other things that, asbestos, et cetera. But is there anything else that?
Yeah, I'll just add that the inspection would need to be conducted by a certified and licensed contractor who is certified in asbestos detection and remediation. So it couldn't be just, an engineer or somebody from the village. It has to be somebody who's certified and licensed in that type of business.
No, I was requesting engineering from the building, from the village, just to make sure there is this asbest it's present, on this house, just to make sure. Because it's like, maybe this is one of the guests, like I spoke with the Kinga. She say like, Andre, back then, the houses, they was using asbest. So this was, maybe they use just copper, So like I understand this asbest, what there is like a pipes or tiles, because in that house there was the carpet.
Yeah, tiles, pipes, window frames.
Yes.
Yeah, because there is the, from what I saw, like there is a copper. They was using copper, so maybe their asbestos is not even present, you know.
So village staff will help with that. We're asking for the board to approve it, subject to the things we just talked about. And village staff will walk you through what needs to be done. I don't know if there's any other questions or if somebody wants to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, moved by trustee Harris, seconded by
Second.
trustee Gayton.
Thanks for your attention. If it's no question,
No questions. Yeah,
all right, thank you.
we're looking for a vote. Roll call, please.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Contingent upon the village's receipt and approval of supplementary documents associated with the demolition permit, specifically asbestos and asbestos remediation. Aye.
Trustee Jamil? You have him? Is he still here?
Is trustee Jamil online?
Popped off. Okay. Well, I think I have 4 votes. Did anything that trustee Tanucci added change the motion of any sort?
No.
Okay, just reiterated what we were asking to be documented. So, okay, motion approved. Thank you.
So, and point trustee Tanucci is subject to, compliance with all, local requirements and inspections.
Okay. We good?
Can we have, the clerk reread the roll just so we have it on the recording because her mic was not on? So we have the votes of who, can you reread the roll call,
The roll
please?
again.
Oh, yes.
Okay, trustee Borowski,
But just to make sure that we have it.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci, subject to what you, reiterating that it's in compliance with all.
I meant that she could just read it off.
Oh.
Not that everyone had to
They're
vote.
all yeses. I'm not sure what you need.
I know, I just want to make sure so that if we went through for the minutes that we had it.
Okay. All right. Motion carried. All right, for the second time. All right. Now, item 12. This is the petition request for change to the village zoning code. This is where I said I would open it up to public comment for 10 minutes, 3 minutes each. So I don't, Benjamin, are you going to give comment? So there might be a few others.
My name is Benjamin Matthew from 4369 Oakleaf Lane, and this is regarding our proposed change to the special use permit code. So in a nutshell, after reviewing the code, we found that there's a loophole that would allow for non-residential structures in residential areas. So basically what we're asking is to close the loophole so that residential areas will stay residential and that the village's master plan will be followed, and so that there won't be future problems with these kind of developments. With that being said, I'm going to turn this over to my neighbor Ed Maher, 4361 Oakleaf, who will go more into detail.
Edward Maher, 4361 Oakleaf Lane. We purchased our first home in Long Grove in 1998. Raised our family here and have lived here ever since. At the time, I was a young man. Did our due diligence in buying, looked at the zoning maps around the area, drove around, looked at homes to make sure that we weren't getting into something that we weren't sure was going to be okay for us. Everything checked out, all residential. There were a lot of vacant lots that we knew would ultimately be built out and in a nice way, and that's more or less what happened. The one thing that I didn't do at the time was think to read through the village code and try to find out what special use meant and how that might actually impact us years later. But nonetheless, it was all good until about 4 years ago. And then the property next to us, which was an old dilapidated house, sold. And the buyers who purchased it were really the front for a religious group. And shortly after, they began worship services at the property and ultimately caught the attention of Greg Jackson, who stopped the services and urged the owners to apply for a special use permit. Since that time, almost 4 years ago, the application has languished with the village planner, mostly due to the applicant's inability to provide what was needed. But that's kind of when our odyssey began. At that point, the neighbors, our homeowners association, Oak Leaf, and some of the other neighbors joined together. And since that time, we've spent over $10,000 in legal fees, mailing costs, technical resources. More so, we've spent countless hours, many hundreds of hours, researching all that's involved in this, writing to you and presenting FOIA requests, been attending all these meetings, all this to stay on top of what was going on around us that could potentially change the complexion of our homes. All of that was to preserve what we moved here for. Last summer at our HOA meeting, we discussed if there was anything more we can do and realized that if it happened to us, it could happen anywhere. It could happen in Prairie Trails. It could happen in Country Club Estates, Martin Woods. Somebody could purchase a home, call it a temple, apply for special use, and then it was up to the neighbors to decide how they were going to oppose that. So we had to decide we were going to do something about it, and that's what brought us here. From attending board meetings, we knew that the mulch farm had met some resistance and that the village had changed the code to make it more difficult for them to continue the type of operation that they had. So we thought that maybe there was a possibility we could do something similar on behalf of the rest of the residents of Long Grove, not just our scenario. So that brings us to where we are today. The proposed amendment would prevent special use conversion of current residential properties that are surrounded by homes in established neighborhoods into public assembly spaces. Of course, our proposed amendment would only apply to future circumstances and only in entirely residential surroundings. And although public assemblies in residential districts are listed under special use, section 536, we felt the section most applicable for closing this loophole is linked to section 5912. However, we defer to the village board and to council for the appropriate language and location. So our proposal under section 5912, under the current subsection heading, minimum distance between public assembly spaces, we propose changing that to location and minimum distance between public assembly spaces. And the current content that corresponds with that reads, no public assembly use shall be located on a lot within 750 feet of another lot on which a public assembly use is located. And we simply request adding, nor shall it be located on a lot bounded by established residential properties on all sides. We feel that simply adding those 18 words to the existing village code would suffice to prevent future occurrences like what we've experienced that can totally upend a neighborhood and forever alter the rural environment and peaceful character we all came here for. Thank you for your time and consideration. I would be happy to answer any questions best I can.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments?
Hello, Michael Kerendian, 4362 Oak Leaf. Thanks to Ben and Ed, and thank you to the board. Basically, what we're doing is asking for your help to, like they said, close a loophole. The concept is that we're not objecting to special use permits. So we believe that there is a time and a place for a special use permit. The issue is if there are residential homes on all four sides of a subject property, for that subject property to go and build up to a 9,000 square foot community center or similar type of thing that the special use permit codes currently allow for, That's a little much when you expect it to be in a residential area surrounded by residential homes. That's a very big change. It's a fundamental change to the character of the neighborhood. And like Ben said, in line with the village's own comprehensive use plan, Long Grove is about the scenic residential character. That's what brings people to Long Grove. That's what keeps people in Long Grove, along with, the other great features of the village. But it's definitely something that every person who buys in Long Grove has in mind. So we're asking the village to step up and make that change again for future. Something also to add is that when Ed gave the background that this issue came up because of a neighboring property to our own, we actually reached out to the entire village, or almost the entire village. And we had a lot of support from various residents. We've got residents here from other HOAs and other neighborhoods. It's not just us. This is something that the village is concerned about, that residents are concerned about. We spoke with Mr. Sparkman and Mr. McCarthy. Ben and I had met with them. I appreciated their time. And they advised us this was the way to proceed, that we needed to kind of take the action and then see if the board can help us take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment?
We have a public comment online.
Go ahead. Can you let?
Yeah, she's a presenter.
Yep.
It's Angelos. You can unmute yourself.
Then that's the last
Oh,
one because we'll be at 10 minutes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
We can, Christine.
Okay. Hi. So I just jumped on because we're having an unrelated concern with our subdivision. But anyway, I'm actually glad I did. Just, I guess, in support of this proposal, because something similar transpired to our subdivision. And specifically something I realized just recently, just unfortunately wasn't able to be as present as I wanted to when this is going through last year for us. But in terms of the code and the comprehensive plan and the language and the official map, and I guess part C of what they're proposing, in terms of a reason justifying the approval despite such lack of conformity shall be stated. What we recognized is when the change that was being made that was going to affect our subdivision, changing the R1 to allow for the dog park that's going to being proposed. The comprehensive plan was just brushed over at the zoning meeting. In terms of, there was no discussion and there was just a statement saying that this actually conforms to the comprehensive plan when it clearly doesn't. So I'm just here to say, and again, just happened upon this meeting just to say I support this. I've seen these gentlemen come to these meetings time and time again asking for progress for this particular church. We live in White Oak Estate, or I live in White Oak Estate, which is actually across North Kruger on 22. So traffic-wise, we would have been affected. I think I sent a letter regarding this development back when it was being proposed a couple years ago. So I just wanted to say that I do agree that, there has to be a little more, I guess, discussion and reasoning and acknowledgement as far as the comprehensive plan and why it's important to keep the residential communities as they were designed and intended. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, I'm going to stop the public comment here. We're over 10 minutes. I'm not sure how the best way to get started. I'm going to pull it back to the board. Vic, do you want to maybe set us up here?
Well, I guess. I guess there are a few points that I would note. First, the village's ordinance, as far as I was able to get back, and it was only till about 1990, has, and the development pattern have always had churches, schools within residential areas. And that's not unique to Long Grove. You will find that largely throughout the country. In fact, just taking a quick look today, I did find not only cases that identify churches and schools as being part of a residential character area, but one of the leading zoning horn books specifically says, I'll quote this because I thought it was of some interest. Most zoning ordinances expressly include churches in residential districts in recognition of both their compatibility with homes and of the tacit demand of citizens of the community that their churches be within a convenient distance. Clearly within the existing pattern of Long Grove, nearly every church is surrounded by residential. This is not unique to Long Grove. This is not unique to the churches within Long Grove. So from that perspective, I guess I have some difficulty understanding the contention that that this is a loophole. This is actually something that has been a longstanding part of the zoning pattern and zoning regulations of the village. It's not a loophole in the sense that somebody pulled one over on anybody. This was something that has been an intentional component of the village's zoning. I also note that there was a comment about the 11,000 square feet. That's the same as a home. So it's not something that would be larger nor something that would be smaller. It would be comparable to homes. So the regulations in place are designed to mimic what we have as the regulations for residences in the same area. I would also note that the village was the defendant in a significant and still widely cited Ray Lupa case, and the ordinance that we have in place today survived a Ray Lupa challenge. Ray Lupa is the Religious Land Use and Institutional Persons Act. It's a federal act that codifies the First Amendment provisions protecting religious uses. And the current regulations actually survived a challenge, a very significant one. And as a result, I think that questioning the utility of that ordinance needs to be done in context, because to change it, especially in the face of a pending application, could expose the village to not only further litigation, but potential liability. So I think that that's an important fact that should be weighed in as far as the board's consideration of this.
Questions from the trustees' comments?
Yeah, I guess just maybe another question for Vic of how that would affect it if we were to approve some, would that make the current churches and stuff, would that make them legal non-conforming, and would that impact them going forward as well?
It would, as the language is proposed, it would make existing churches legal nonconformities, and therefore they would be subject to the limitations in the code already on legal nonconformities, which largely prevent their expansion and their major renovation.
So in regards to, let's just take this specific case. With the special use permit, it's handled by a case basis anyhow, so we don't have to, it's not that they're not automatically approved and they're not automatically disapproved.
That is correct. Right. And so this change would, because about 90% of our, I'd say maybe 80% of our entire zoning is residential, we would be finding ourselves largely excluding churches within the village in the future.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? I mean, what's before us right now is to refer this to the plan commission, right? So that they can, take a look at it, come back to us with a decision, right?
Yes, the board has the option to refer it or not, and if it goes forward to the plan commission, that'll be subject to public notice, hearing, and then a recommendation.
How many acres is the property in question? How many does it entail? I mean, is it 5 acres? 8?
But this is not really about that specific property. Well. property is, I don't know that they'll ever get it together. More about as a whole residential area, if you somehow decide one home is the top hole and the residents.
So no one can hear you online, but I think,
So
yeah, so you probably need to repeat that. Yeah.
saying hypothetically, in a tighter community, somebody buys a 1 or 2 acre property and they try to convert that, that could be a potential issue. Is that?
You'll have to go to that podium if you want to make any further comment. 'cause-
I guess I'm just trying to think, if somebody bought a home and in a community with 1 acre lots, I don't see that going through as something, and I think we'd be okay. I mean, because obviously religious groups are a protected class. Vic brings up some very valid, relevant, concerning points. Litigation is a serious concern for all of us as residents. And you're touching on a very sensitive subject when it comes to religious groups. Of course, I live in a community where there's 1 acre lots. You know, I don't want a church popping up next to me or whatever. It doesn't make sense. 8 acres, I mean, I think there's enough privacy there where it sounds like that would be something that would make more sense. But I mean, am I wrong that any proposed special use would come before the board? And if it was a tighter community, that's something that we'd likely consider and take a look at differently than say 8 acres, right?
Our current public assembly regulations require a minimum of 3 acres in any event. But yes, as a special use permit, it would be something that would have to come before the plan commission for public hearing and then ultimately for action by the board. So the evaluation of the context of the proposal will always make a difference.
And another question for you, Vic, is this unique? I mean, or is this pretty standard for villages? And
The regulations we have are probably more restrictive than in most communities regarding religious uses. Just and quote another one of the leading cases on Ray Lupa. The court recognized, quote, the historic connection between strong and healthy residential communities and churches. This is how the courts have traditionally viewed the orientation of churches and residential areas. They are considered part of the fabric of residential areas. They are not an outlier. They are not a loophole from the way the courts have looked at it.
No other thoughts on your side of the table?
Well, let me see if I understand this correctly. Without predicting what may or may not happen in the future, just theoretically, I think I'm understanding that rejection of the special use permit would present a much lower risk to the village than approval of what we're being asked to do tonight would.
Yes, I would say that a special use permit would be based on a myriad of facts that would have to be threshed through. I could see this as being the subject of a facial challenge. And a facial challenge doesn't require a lot of proof. And given the great deference and the high level of protection of religious uses, I think that puts us at greater jeopardy.
Thank you.
So I was involved in one of the cases that Vic mentioned earlier, where the village of Long Grove was involved in a church application, and our ordinances and our code and our special use process tries to make, mold the development into something that is aesthetically pleasing and fits the character of the neighborhood it's going into. The previous application that's going back probably, 20 some years now, I guess. I don't know. Somewhere in there.
I think it's 20th anniversary of the final decision.
There you go. Was because the church came in as really kind of a mega church application, which was high volume, a lot of seats, a lot of traffic, parsonages, community center, daycare center, and a whole bunch of other things.
100,000 square feet.
Yeah, it was significant. So, our code basically tries to make sure that developments come in and are at least aesthetically pleasing. So I think we have some protections in place that kind of make sense in terms of size, shape, function, and whether it fits in that particular parcel or not. And at the end of the day, I think churches do belong in residential areas. That's kind of the way, I grew up, and kind of the way we expected to be here, in a sense, because that's what we do. We go to a close church. We don't travel all the way into town, if you will, right? So, I'm not even really, I think it's a really interesting proposal. I think you guys have spent, a good resource finding a very creative approach. But for me personally, I guess I shouldn't say personally, but for me, I don't really even see us moving this forward to the Plan Commission tonight. I just, I think if our council came back to us and said, this makes sense and provides a lot of benefit to us, I think that would be more persuasive. But right now, I'm not really inclined to even move it forward.
Thank you for those thoughts. If, along those lines, Village Attorney Filippini, you're advising us not to do this. My understanding.
This is a policy question. You all can do it. I think that we are inviting ourselves to certain risks if we proceed with this. I think it's not only inconsistent with our current zoning pattern and our historic zoning regulations, but it also forecloses nearly all opportunities for future churches within the village. And that creates yet another problem from a land use regulation perspective. And that would be, even if this wasn't a protected class, add the First Amendment and the protections on churches and religious uses, I think that we compound the risk that the village would face.
I mean, surely, is there anything else we could do to tighten up our code? To, so that in certain areas, that may or may not make sense to have a church that, it makes it easier for us to deny it?
I think that's what the special use permit process permits us to do. It allows us to look at the context of a particular request, determine whether or not it's the right location and the right proposal for that location. I'm not aware of any particular, other than the Vision Church one, which again was one that the village did consider through its existing, through our current public assembly regulations, and the village determined that the proposal was not right for that property and the location. We were challenged. We were faced with, I think it was a $6.5 million claim. And ultimately, the village won outright.
So your opinion is that don't change our code?
Our code seems to work.
Okay.
And I don't know that we have any evidence that it doesn't.
Okay. Other thoughts, comments? I mean, is everyone on the board in alignment with not changing our village code and not referring us?
I agree with Chris Borowski's assessment that we don't even move it forward.
I agree as well.
So I understand what the petitioners are trying to do, and I do sympathize with their situation. As a village trustee, I also need to look at the bigger picture, village-wide, and but also say at the same time that I think there's a better way of doing what you're trying to accomplish, which I alluded to in my earlier comments. I don't think this is the proper way to do it. So no, I do not support the referral.
So in order to officially address this, I think we would need a motion not to refer it to the Plan Commission. And then I'll add a piece to that. If that motion is approved, I would ask that we refund monies that have been submitted by the petitioner to get this to this point.
Just as a clarification, I presume the monies are the application fees that they paid to the village, not whatever they may have otherwise incurred.
Well, help me with that. Shake that up a little bit.
The application.
The application fee that to the village. Okay. We want to make that motion.
Yeah, I will.
Moved by trustee Borowski, seconded by trustee Harris. Roll call, please.
Let me just reiterate the motion. So it's a motion to basically deny referral of this petition to the planning commission and zoning board of appeals for further consideration.
Plus to refund the application fee.
And to refund the application fee.
Is that all that the fees they paid?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to,
escrow, but that would be.
well, that's what I was trying to get at. So Vic, carefully clarify that.
That is the motion.
That's a motion, yes.
Okay. Trustee Harris, trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye. And trustee Jamil's not there, right? Okay. Motion carried, and I'm sorry that it turned out this way, but thank you for bringing it forward. Appreciate it. Thanks for your thoughtfulness. Okay, I'm guessing you might be here for this other item, right? Am I right? No? Who's here? There's a resolution for the reduction of letter of credit. This is for the Deer Trail subdivision. I don't know if Jeff or Chris want to talk about that at all.
I'll let Jeff if he wants. This is basically to lower the letter of credit because they performed all the necessary underground work tied to the project, sanitary and other utilities.
Jeff, we can't hear you. Your hand's raised.
Can't do this.
Oh, we got it.
We can kind of hear you.
Sorry, guys, you gotta, yeah, I was waiting to be able to be unmuted. Yeah, Chris, you summarized it well. This is a letter of credit reduction going from their original letter of credit of about $2 million down to a remaining letter of credit of $853,000. So a $1.2 million reduction, and that's for underground utility improvements, sanitary sewer, water main, and storm sewer, which has all been accepted by the county as well. I would just add for the board to note that the original letter of credit includes $321,750 for landscaping, and that has not been completed, and that is not part of this reduction. So after this, the village will still hold a letter of credit of that amount for the landscaping improvements.
Questions?
No, I'll like to go ahead and motion that we reduce the letter of credit to the $853,346.55 number.
Okay, moved by trustee Borowski, second by trustee Tanucci. Roll call.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
The motion carried. Jeff, as long as you're unmuted, we have this thing called the village engineers report.
Yeah, I was waiting all day to give you guys this. So the engineers reports and what's that?
We've been waiting all day for it.
All right.
We've been waiting 2 weeks, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, you know, good things come to those who wait, I suppose, right? Anyway, the board engineers reports in the board packet. Just a couple highlights tonight. The number 2, the 2026 road program. I've been commenting on this the last few board meetings. Ela Township has selected what they will resurface this year in terms of roads. So our office is moving forward with that. I think at the last board meeting, I mentioned The project would likely be bid in mid-April. So with Ela Township's decision last week on those roads, that schedule is looking pretty good. And then just a couple other things.
Hey, I'm sorry. So you're going to go out to RFP at this point or?
So the process is we've got to finish doing the due diligence work for Ela Township to prepare the bid documents. Then we need to get IDOT's approval because of the use of MFT funds, and then we will bid that. So that's how it gets to mid-April.
Yeah, but we've already given a resolution to use the MFT funds. We just haven't heard back from the state.
It hasn't been submitted yet because we're kind of in a holding pattern waiting for Ela Township to catch up, if you will.
Got it. Well, I hope they don't slow us down.
So bids so far this year that we've seen are pretty favorable. So if I'll keep the board updated as I keep my pulse on that as well. So the only other things kind of out here are a few of the permit projects. Quick Trip, they're moving forward with submitting revised final engineering documents that we got a few days ago that we're going to review. We heard from Jeff Fuller on the Lake Eleanor State Drainage Improvement Project earlier tonight. And then Lakeshore K9, there was the Plan Commission meeting that was continued, but we do have their engineering plans and they're working through some of the comments on that to gain their final PUD approval as well. So that is the highlights for tonight. If there's any questions, happy to take them.
I have another question. Did the state approve the road improvements in front of the proposed Quick Trip, or are they still waiting for the state?
The state has not responded, so they're in this, the state's time period for that. So it's anybody's guess when IDOT will respond to that.
And I have a second question for you, or maybe it's for Vic. Did we get a signed intergovernmental agreement with IDOT for the Route 22?
Not yet.
They're taking down trees.
They may be taking down trees, but I don't know if they're doing it within our scenic corridor. If they are,
I don't know if they are or not.
yeah, I'm not. I know that they had commenced the work, but not necessarily in our scenic corridor. They said they weren't going to touch ours until they had the signed documents, and they are. Alexander provided them with a form 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and they're diligently reviewing it.
So our office will take a look tomorrow and see if we can make some heads and tails of what trees they're removing, just to make sure that they are staying out of the scenic corridor easements.
I noticed there was one tall oak tree standing in Benjamin. I think it's close to your house, but all the, right where this subject property is for the church that we were talking about, they took all the brush down and just, it's all mowed down, right?
I mean, that's city forest. They have
Yeah.
this point, and that one tree I'm sure they're just waiting for like the machine for just by the power line. But our state corridor is pretty much off in that area.
Yeah. So I'm just making you aware of it. So.
At least some of those properties have been developed before the village had established the scenic corridor regulations. So while we might think that's within our scenic corridor, our scenic corridors are actually in recorded documents, and not everything has been encumbered by those scenic corridors.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? If not, I'll move to the president and trustee reports. I don't have a report tonight. Trustee Borowski, do you have a report?
I don't have a report, but I just want to bring some things up if I can. So maybe some of this is public comment and maybe it should have been at the beginning of the meeting. you know, while I was in Arizona, I also attended a funeral service for a 32-year-old young man who passed away due to a dairy allergy. And his father, that he ate 2 hot dogs. There was milk in one of the hot dog buns. He basically was unconscious before he finished his second hot dog. And that's after doing all the diligence on the ingredients. Anyway, his father is a close friend of ours, and the message he wanted all of us to carry away with that is that food allergies are very serious. And using this platform, I just want to share that message with everybody, just to understand how serious they can be. I grew up, we didn't know anything about food allergies. It was a learning experience for me. So I'm using this platform to maybe spread that word a little bit. But more business related, I think many of you saw the summary of Governor Pritzker's budget proposals. I think there was some things that may affect us if they're carried forward. And that includes his state legislation that would preempt municipal control over zoning in terms of affordable housing, multifamily, Section 8. To me, that is a very, very serious matter. Not that we don't want to welcome some aspects of that, but I think we should really take a good hard look as a board, and also maybe take a good hard look to see what IML is thinking about doing, whether they want to support that or not. Because I have to think other municipalities are going to raise some concerns about that matter. So I don't know how we escalate that issue, but I think certainly awareness is important. But to me, that would be, you know, we just talked about a church that we do have some control over. But what if that property was built with multifamily high-rise apartments that we wouldn't have any control over? So to me, that's a real interesting challenge. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the bag tax that Governor Pritzker proposed. I think he's looking at putting a 25-cent bag tax in place over the next X number of years. You know, I can see plastic being a problem, but I don't know why you'd want to tax paper bags, but apparently that's included in this as well. So leads me to think about things that Long Grove may or may not want to do in terms of moving towards completely reusable, recyclable, or something bags for our downtown and also the other business owners in town. You know, I don't want to be burdensome on anybody, but on the other hand, you know, if there's something that makes some sense for us to try to mitigate some of that, I think we should probably think about, you know, doing that or taking some action accordingly. And that was all I really wanted to raise tonight. So thank you for indulging me in all that.
Yeah, sorry to hear about your friend's son. That's just awful. So, yeah. Thank you for those thoughts. Trustee Gayton.
No report.
Trustee Harris.
No.
Mr. Jamil's not here. Trustee O'Connor's not here. Trustee Tanucci.
No report.
Village Manager Sparkman, I think you have a report.
The budget workshop will be March 21st. Breakfast will be served.
Okay, 8 a.m. in the morning on March 21st. It's a Saturday. So I'm here with your calculators or whatever you need to count the beans to get our budget done. So, all right, thank you. There's no reason to go in executive session, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Trustee Harris, seconded by Trustee Browski. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thank you.